I'm not afraid to take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm. Just letting you know that we're not alone. Holla if you feel like you've been down the same road. That's the amazing Eminem. Not afraid. What's up, Joe?
What is happening? Another Friday night. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome to another episode of Industry Outlaws United, IOU for short. We're going to have an amazing night. I'm your host, Brandon E. Brooks. In the box next to me, one way or the other, the man with the Indie Escape plan, Joe Ridgely. How are you this week, Joe?
I am excellent. We have so many exciting things going on. It is unbelievable, but I'll let you do your thing.
No, please tell us about it. I know there's a bunch of Indie Escape sanctioned events like Phantasm and another special event that's being streamlined by CJ Robles and Terry Gerald that you set up. So please tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, first of all, everybody check out our new logo. How cool is that? It's much better than that fancy thing I had in the past, but that's beside the point. And Phantasm. Anybody in the Orlando area, August 19th through the 21st, go over to Phantasm. We're going to have a blast. Going to have Harlow's Haunt. They're going to have the panel there. I'll be hosting. They'll also have a table there. I'm going to be doing some interviews for the Indie Escape Network. And as you also mentioned, we have a charity event coming up with 3 of the alumni from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We're going to have the hitchhiker, or we're going to have the van driver, and we're going to have Grandpa. So it's going to be an awesome charity event. There are going to be photo ops with those guys and the van. All the proceeds are going to what happened in Texas. So
that's awesome. Yes, please support that great event to help a lot of people in need. El Diablo, Jason Buterin, thanks for watching, buddy. Sean Smithson, thanks for supporting again this week. We appreciate it. So again, like Joe just said, that TCM event's going to be very beneficial to a lot of people. Sean Smithson, that logo would look cool, made of wood and some red lights. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
And I got one more thing. Everybody who is tuning in for the first time, please make sure you check us out and like us on our social medias: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
Awesome. So without further ado, Mr. Ridgely, can you play our tribute video for tonight's guests?
I think I can arrange that. Bear with me one second. Before you say anything, I kind of think that somebody was getting a little misty-eyed in the green room, but I just need to hit a couple of comments real fast. We got CJ, thank you, gentlemen, for spreading the word. Absolutely, it's a network event. We're gonna spread the word. And Crystal, amazing cause. Yes, thank you very much. We have Nicole. Hey there, good to see you. What's up, guys? From Amy, another Harlow's Haunter. And we have Ken. Good evening.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, actor, filmmaker, artist, Jeremy London.
Guys, man, you just hit me in the feels there. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight, taking some of your Friday night with us, man. We appreciate it. Everyone's been anticipating.
I wasn't expecting that. That caught me off guard.
Oh man,
seeing my children when they were young, and all my friends and the wonderful people that I've been so lucky to work with. It sort of just puts my life into perspective that I don't really think about too often, and so I appreciate that. Yeah, man, you got me teared up here.
Hey, man. It does.
Some of those pictures were my twin brother, but hey,
I know. I saw it after, so I apologize.
But that's
the
okay.
First
though.
one,
it's
the
my
first
twin
one
brother.
too.
The first one was my twin brother.
First one.
Okay.
I saw it after, and I was like, oh. But
yeah,
again,
no, that was a
wonderful.
wonderful video. I appreciate that, and seeing my kiddos young, seeing Lyric, he's 15 now, and so he showed me a couple of pictures when he was 4 or 5 years old, and that caught me. And then of course Wyatt is my little mini me. He's 8 now.
Lyric, great names. Like where did they resonate from somewhere specific? Because
Lyric and Wyatt. Lyric. I'm a songwriter and musician, and I think my first wife thought that would be cool, and it made sense. You know, the universe has a way of picking them, and I honestly, when we were trying to think of names for Wyatt, my ex-wife kept saying that, who by the way is one of my best friends now, and she's one of my agents, Juliet. Kept saying she thought it was going to be a girl, and I kept hearing this voice in my head that kept going, "I'm not a girl, I'm a boy." And I kept thinking I was losing my mind. I kept saying, "Listen, I'm telling you, this is going to be another boy." And he's telling me his name is Wyatt Finn London, and that's his name.
That's a dope name. That's awesome. So we always start like with every guest. I always ask kind of a little bit about your upbringing. I read, hopefully, again, some of the information that I read was inaccurate online. So is it true that you were born 27 minutes after your identical twin brother Jason?
It is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's very true. Okay, so tell us a little bit. 27 minutes. So tell us a little bit.
I don't remember much about it.
But tell us about your upbringing, where you were born.
Man, I grew up all over the place. I grew up mostly in the South, Texas and Oklahoma. I was born in San Diego. My dad was in the Navy, but we moved whenever, from there back to Oklahoma when we were like 1. And then my parents got divorced when I was 4 and went to Texas and back to Oklahoma, and my mom got remarried a couple times, and so I was all over the place. And so we were kind of just like gypsies, just roaming all over the place. And then she finally met a wonderful man named Roger Coffey, who we moved on to a cattle ranch in Oklahoma for many years, and he was a wonderful, wonderful man, my stepdad. Roger, and she's since been remarried again. It's kind of a hobby for her, but I grew up on a cattle ranch in Oklahoma for many years. And then when we lost the ranch, when it was my aunt's ranch, whenever they lost the ranch, we moved to Dallas, Texas. And I wound up going to DeSoto, Texas, which is just a suburb of Dallas, which is where I spent my junior high and senior, high school years. And then my senior year, about 6 weeks before I graduated, I got an opportunity to audition for a television series called I'll Fly Away. We had already done the summer before. my brother, I literally forced my brother to go on an audition for a movie called The Man in the Moon, which was Reese Witherspoon's first movie when she was 13 years old. He had no interest in going, but I made him go, and he got the role. And so all of a sudden, our lives just took this left turn, and we were in Louisiana filming The Man in the Moon with the director that directed To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh wow!
Robert Mulligan, and our life has just been a series of amazing things since then. Yeah, ups and downs and craziness. But I lived in LA for 26 years, and now I live in Mississippi, and I have a gardening business, and on top of an acting school, and I make movies still like crazy, and I'm a very, very blessed person, and that video just reminded me just how blessed I am.
Awesome. You're welcome, man. So you and your brother, like, did people know when you were young? Were you extroverts to, like, people thought were going to be in the entertainment business, or?
I don't think that there was anything realistic really about it. I don't think we really ever thought about it, because, like I said, we grew up. You're gonna get me crying again, man. Don't do this to me. Growing up on a cattle ranch and places like that, and we were very poor growing up. And so to think that you could wind up in Hollywood in movies and stuff like that was something that I think was just way too far-fetched, for us to kind of grasp. But we were always so sort of extroverted that way, and always had, these talents that we knew we wanted to do something with, but we had no idea what kind of outlet was available for us to be able to do that. Yeah. And then the universe reached a hand out and pulled us into it. Now,
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So, so what was that first experience on I'll Fly Away, like, as being like relatively new to the game?
I was green as hell. I almost got fired. I was so shy. That one of the producers, John Falsey, who is a legend, they produced St. Elsewhere. John Falsey and Josh Brand produced St. Elsewhere, and at the same time, they were also doing Northern Exposure, which were huge shows in the 90s. And so Josh Brand was always on set with us, directing and producing and stuff like that. But John Falsey always stayed in California. But when he did show up, it was for something serious, right? And so John Falsey showed up the first time, and he was like, London, to my office, kind of thing. I got called to the principal's office, and he was like, basically like, look, man, come out of your shell, or we're going to have to replace you. We know you've got it. You killed in your audition. We know that you've got it. You're just scared. And we know why. He said, you think everybody's judging you. You think everybody's staring at you. He goes, I can tell you right now, the makeup person, she's looking at your makeup. The wardrobe, they're looking at your wardrobe. The lighting, people that are looking at the lighting, they don't care about what you're doing up there. They want you to get your words right, your lines right, and they want to go home and drink a beer. And so from that moment on, I was determined there was no way in hell I was going to get fired. But it allowed me to shut out all of those things that were causing me to be stuck inside my shell. And that from that day on, I became Jeremy London. I was just a scared kid before then. The most amazing thing about all of that was about 6 months later, John Falsey came back to Atlanta, Georgia, where we were shooting. The show was called I'll Fly Away, and we won the Emmy for Best Drama. It was a wonderful show. Sam Waterston, Regina Taylor. Yep. John Falsey showed back up to the set, and I immediately started crapping myself and was like, oh no. And he's like, London, the office. And I was like, I'm getting fired. I knew it.
Did you go ahead, please.
Jeremy, he said, not only did you do what I told you to do, he said, you have now become my favorite character on this show, and I'm writing only your storylines from now on, and you're going to become a much bigger part of the show. And it was just nice. It was kind of mind-blowing. He was so happy, and so I was so grateful to be almost fired. It was
it's a great pep talk there. It would have been you fired, and then Jason would have showed up the next day.
Yeah. Well, he wound up. They did a TV movie whenever the show got canceled, but we won the Emmy for best drama and got canceled. That's
Oh
endless.
yeah, that's yeah,
They did
definitely.
a final movie, and my brother played my character for me because I was already in Canada, I think, shooting a movie, and people hated it. They hated it. They were like, "What's wrong? What's wrong with Nathan? Why does he look different? Why is he so different?" And they could tell just enough that what the hell's going on here, and
Just a little bit.
It wasn't very well received. It wasn't.
Did you two compete a lot for roles at that time?
How do I say this without sounding arrogant? I always just got the roles, other than the Man in the Moon. Really, I just kind of always like in the plays in school, stuff like that, because I honestly was the one that wanted to be the actor. Jason he didn't really care about. He didn't really want to. I forced him to go on that audition for the Man in the Moon. He really had no interest. But he was the only one of us that had a car, and so I made him take me. And because he was not so nonchalant about it. I think that's why he got the role, because he was just so cool and laid back, and we were all trying to be actors,
Yeah, he was too cool for school.
Here's my lines. Take it or leave it. I don't care. I want to go home to my girlfriend. So it was.
So did you guys?
Weird.
So you guys growing up, did you ever? I always hear the stories of identical twins. Like,
no, I can tell you right now, we never did any of that. Never had any interest. I never liked girls he liked. He never liked girls I liked. I didn't want to be in his class. I was already in my class. I was a straight A student. He necessarily wasn't. And so I didn't want to take these. I wasn't going to have him come in and screw my grades up. So no, the twin rumor that I don't feel pain when he feels pain, any of that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
There's none of that.
Gotcha.
I think those twins might exist. It's just not us.
Just not you. So 1995, Kevin Smith comes into your life with another amazing role that I'm sure you get talked about. You still hear from fans today in Mallrats. How did this all come about? How did this all come about? Like, I mean, was it an arduous audition process for Kevin? Like, what was the experience like?
For me, it was really easy because I got hired on the spot. I remember I went into the audition. It was at Universal Studios, I believe, and Seth Green was there, and all of these other actors, and I did my audition, and Kevin Smith immediately looked around and he said, "Where's Don? Where's Don Smith? Don sorry, not Don Smith. Don, I can't remember what his name is, the casting director." He's like, "Where's Don?" And they went and got Don, who's in the other room. He brought back in and he said, "Jeremy, do that for Don." And so I just did my scene again, and they basically said, "The role is yours. You got it. Now we got to find everybody else, and we're going to need you to help us find everybody else." And so I was lucky enough to get hired on the spot, and that's.
Wow. So what was that experience like filming that movie? Like, was it great to work with Kevin?
It was it was great. Yeah, everybody thinks that it must have been a blast, but honestly, we were shooting from 8 p.m. at night until 8 in the morning for months, and in an old mall that was kind of a dying elephant. And we only saw nighttime like once or twice the whole time we were shooting. We saw fluorescent lights, and then the sun was going down when we went into work, and it was coming up when we left work, and we were inside with neon lights the whole time. And then we rehearsed all of the scenes way too much, probably to the point where they were not funny to us anymore. They were hilarious at first, but they just weren't funny to us anymore. And so we were doing these scenes that just, we weren't sure if they were funny or not. And then we were exhausted on top of that. And, it was work. It was work.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I can tell you that, when we were done working, whether it was 8 o'clock or 9 in the morning, everybody came to my room and we partied and had fun. We all went up in the hot tubs together. It's like that. And Kevin at the time, back then, was very, new and very serious and introverted. And he stayed in his room and smoked his cigarettes and played his video games while he thought of how to make the scenes funnier and stuff like that. And so I didn't get to really have that like real good bonding connection with him. But Jason Mewes and I connected really, really well, and a lot of the other actors. And so I think if we were to do it again today, I think that I would probably have an opportunity to connect with Kevin a little bit more than I did back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that my character, it all lent itself for TS to be TS. I mean, I didn't even know who Stan Lee was whenever I got there. I didn't know who until they told me he created Spider-Man. I was like, oh, I don't know, which is that was my character as well. So it just all kind of lent itself to sort of become a part of the personality of the character as well.
Absolutely. CJ Robles, one of our IE hosts, says, got to meet Jeremy, Sven, and Brian O'Halloran for the Mallrats online beat. Thanks for all the acting advice,
CJ,
Jeremy.
That's right.
Acting
is a challenge. Acting class, CJ. I think I owe CJ an acting class.
There you go. So next up, you were cast as Griffin Holbrook.
No.
Right. Is he here?
No, wait a minute. So you're ending on Mallrats with that, not with any rumors on part 2? What's going on?
I can tell you that's never going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you it was, but he's been teasing me with that since my child was 6 months, and he's 8 years old now. That ship has sailed, buddy. I don't even think about it anymore. I know I would love for it to. I think that, unlike Clerks, Kevin doesn't own the rights to Mallrats, unfortunately. Yeah. Universal Studios does. And so for him to make a Mallrats 2, he has to acquire it from Universal first. That's not an easy thing to do, And then, just from a sheer numbers point of view, that movie tanked at the theater. Yeah. I mean, it was a complete and utter bomb. It took 10 years for people to even recognize me from that movie. Now it's probably the most popular thing I've ever done. And, when I mostly go to conventions because of Mallrats, because of the pop culture aspect of it. But yeah, there are a lot of other factors that people don't really know about or think about that go into that. Not to mention, we're all a bunch of old farts now.
It was all the rage, though. It was all the rage.
I'm 50 years old in November, man. I was 24 years old when we shot that movie.
It was all the rage, though. Even like right before COVID, like there was a mall picked out and it was. I mean, it was in talks, but again,
he's tried, man. It's not because Kevin hasn't tried. I'll never blame Kevin for it. I'll never be angry with him. The Mallrats itself was a blessing. Sometimes good things I don't think you need to taint them. You don't need a sequel. It'll be great if it happens, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to lose any sleep. Yeah. I'm so blessed to be a part of that world as it is. That I don't feel like I need to dip my toes back in that water unless it happens. If it happens, I'll be so happy to do it, man. I'll be so blessed. But I got to tell you, more than just to get back with all of the people again, get back with all my friends and see everybody again, and to have them, and we're all at this different place. I was just a wild ass smoking weed and just, trying to get as much tail as I could, all that kind of stuff back then. I'm a damn grandfather now. I'm a step granddad, but I'm still a granddad. And it's weird, man. It's a different time.
It'd be funny.
I welcome it though. Well, malls don't exist, and that's another thing though. Like malls have kind of gone the way of the dodo. They're really kind of.
But you see, it's a perfect fit now because the old people go speed walking at the malls now.
Yeah, it's kind of become just a place to go walk around. I mean, they're just it's depressing, frankly. I think malls have become depressing. They used to be so much fun just to do the walking around. Now you walk around and just kind of get bummed out.
It's true. And if you're nostalgic, then you're definitely bummed out. Remember, 30 years
we used to walk around them to get chicks. Now you walk around it to get lower cholesterol. It's totally
yes. You're going to Arch Julius and getting a Cinnabon. That's not the same.
Yeah, no more of that. No more of that.
CJ says yes, you do.
This is Cinnabon keto. What's up?
Cinnabon. Oh my God! Yes. So you heard it here first. No Mallrats 2 in the near future, people. So we're gonna move on. Like I said, your cast is Griffin Holbrook.
Listen, man, I'm saying that as self-realization sort of prediction for myself, and also to keep myself from getting heartbroken again, because I've been thinking this thing was going to happen for years now. And so I've just gotten to a place where I've gotten comfortable with being okay that it doesn't happen,
Gotcha.
It's kind of heartbreaking to get your hopes up like that time and time
absolutely.
and time again.
I feel you. So you've been blessed with some amazing casts. This next show, Party of Five, Fox show that came at a time when there wasn't as many hard-hitting issues being put out there especially for young teens and people. So you're cast as the role of Griffin Holbrook on this show. What did this show do for you as far as like your career and your maturation as an actor, playing opposite some great up-and-coming stars at the time?
Well, I can't. It's one of those things when I look back and I realize, there are people that hit the lottery, once in their life. It's very few and far between. But I feel like I hit the lottery time and time again. My first television series, I'll Fly Away, we won the Emmy for Best Drama, Golden Globe for Best Drama for Party of Five. I've been blessed to be on all of these great shows. I did Seventh Heaven because I wanted to do something for my grandma, something that she could watch, that she was happy to watch. And the cast was just an incredibly talented group of people. It was one of those things that every week I would tune in and watch the show because I loved watching my friends work. I loved watching the way that they put the show together, and being in that place for me taught me a lot about myself and sort of how to be. The odd thing was that even with the popularity of the show and stuff like that, I was never like a big fan of me. Like I would go to places and people would recognize me, and I'd genuinely still be surprised. Like, what? Oh, me? Like, oh, right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm on that show. I didn't think about that. So I've tried not to ever let it go to my head in that way.
That's good.
But it was a blessing.
Absolutely. So you spoke a little bit about you mentioned Seventh Heaven. How was it playing a minister in that? There you go, like that, a suit and tie minister.
Oh boy.
In that show there for the time.
It was a wholesome family show. I was only in there for really one season, but they were a great group of people. Anytime you can get a season worth of not only the money that they pay, but just the staying busy was really good for me. Back then, if I didn't stay busy, the wheels would fall off, and I certainly would lose my mind and go getting way into partying and all of that. So it was good to stay. It was good to stay busy and be a part of something.
Awesome. So have you ever auditioned for something in your career that you really, really wanted, and then it went to some other actor that doesn't have to be named on here unless you want to? Is there a role out there that's
every audition I've ever not gotten? But I would have to say that the biggest one, I don't know if you remember a movie called Powder. Remember that? Yeah. Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah.
I tested for that over and over, like time and time again. Mm-hmm. And just full disclosure, this is just sort of just shows you where I used to be. I smoked weed and showed up to my last audition, and the director, because I'd been there like 10 times. I was so over it, and I was just my ego, young, stupid. I was probably 21, 22. Smoked weed before I went, and I got there, and the director went, "Are you stoned?" And I immediately went into full like sweat break, like completely. I threw that movie away 100%.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of those valuable lessons that I learned in my life that served me well for the rest of my career. I never, ever did that again. I mean, I'm completely sober now. These were years ago, back whenever I used to party and stuff. But I learned a really, really valuable lesson. Like, just because you think they don't know, they know. And and then one of those weird things happened to where a couple of years later, that director wound up being arrested for like child porn and stuff. like he wound up, and so I was like, "Oh wow, I guess the universe was looking out for me after all." Yeah, so the guy wound up being like a huge creep, and but at the time, it was. Oh, I was so upset with myself. But it was one of those like real, like I needed that to happen because I probably would have continued to be that big of a dipshit. Pardon my language, going into these auditions because that was just one of those youthful stupidity, naive things where I thought they're not gonna know. Why would they know? I don't look stoned when I'm like, come on. So it was a good way. It was a good wake up for me.
It's a cautionary tale for
it is a cautionary tale.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors.
Then I guess the only other one was my brother did a movie called Out Cold, and I was actually offered that movie before he did that movie. At a time, it was called 10-1, and the script was not a great script. All of the comedians that wound up getting roles in that movie with my brother wound up helping make that script hilarious and a good movie. But I was a snowboarder, and so and my brother wasn't, and so I could have shredded. I could have had a lot of fun, but I was already doing another movie in Canada where I was making a lot more money, and so it was a way worse movie too, though, in the long run. So I should have taken that movie instead of the money, because then not only would I have been this really funny, fun movie with all of these great comedians and actors, but I would have gotten to do my own snowboarding and stuff like that. Zach Galifianakis is where Zach Galifianakis was his first movie, and all of these great actors. And so that was another lesson. That was another one thing to not just be greedy and go with money. Like I chose the money project over the good project. But at the time, in my defense, the script was not very good. A lot of those comedians that came on did a lot of improv and stuff like that made it ultimately really funny. And whenever I actually saw the movie, I was like, this isn't what I read. This isn't what I turned down. What's happening here? So, I would have had to been psychic on that one to really know, but it's one of those. It's really the only regret, with my brother that way.
Thank you for sharing that. Because again, there's a lot of actors and filmmakers that watch the show, and again, we like the cautionary tales because it saves some people from making some of the mistakes that I made, and all of our guests. I think
that anybody in my position at the time, knowing the amount of money I was making on this other movie in Canada, and then having read the script that I read, would have done the same thing. Not to mention, my agents didn't tell me that Richard Donner was producing it. Had they told me that, I would have been like, I don't care if the script's bad. Richard Donner's involved. I'm doing it. The guy that did Goonies? Hell yeah. So my agents didn't tell me that either. Gotcha. So there are always other factors. But,
absolutely.
If you're asking me about regrets, then
absolutely.
One that I definitely would. That's one that got away.
So CJ says Lee Majors.
Yes, Lee Majors.
Yes, Lee Majors. Amy says Jeremy London is taking us actors to church tonight with these stories. I love it.
Awesome. I love being an open book. I mean, I am a teacher, and so I just know that if I can make the mistakes for you, then I'm glad to do it. It made it worth it. I want to tell my students these dumb things that I did because I don't want them doing it. I don't want them, getting ahead of themselves and getting their egos to get them in trouble and blow any golden opportunity that could come their way. Stay humble.
Stay humble. All right, so it's time for one sentence or silence. This is my weekly. I asked my guest a name that they've worked with in the past, and you give me a couple words or so, or a statement about them, good or bad. And if you stay silent, that means they suck. That's it. There you go. All right, I'm going to start off.
Oh my God! Okay.
I'm going to start off with Shannon Doherty.
Oh, I love her. She's my niece's godmother. She's an angel.
Awesome. Joey Lawrence.
Love her even more. One of the most amazing people I've ever worked with.
Oh, God. All right. Kevin Farley.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, I did Hollywood and Wine with Kevin Farley and Norm Macdonald and all of these great, amazing people from Saturday Night Live. Chris Kattan and David Spade. It was amazing. Oh my God, what a cool experience.
Awesome.
And Kevin was just a gem.
Awesome. Jake Busey.
Love Jake. I love Jake. He's in a movie that I directed called The Devil's Dozen, and just a good buddy. Just a blast. He's a good human.
Awesome. Ernie Hudson.
One of the best people ever. I love Ernie. He's just a good soul.
Awesome. Elizabeth Berkley.
Amazing. I worked with her in the same movie that I worked with Ernie. And we sort of dated a little bit. I love Elizabeth. I think she's a wonderful, wonderful person. I got a funny story about her real quick. We were on the set in Montana and Idaho in the middle of nowhere. And we were all down by this river, and we hear this scream, bloody murder. You'd have thought that the poor girl was getting murdered. And the entire production shut down and ran the quarter mile up the hill to the base camp where we heard the scream come from. Elizabeth's on the ground crying happy tears because she got showgirls. She just found out that she got showgirls. And so that's what she was happy. She was screaming about. She was happy. She was getting murdered.
Awesome.
So that's my Elizabeth Berkley story. She's a wonderful, wonderful.
Awesome. One actor I've always thought was horribly underrated because I love the film FX. Brian Brown.
Oh my God! I got to work with him in Australia.
Yeah.
That dude is out of his mind. He's amazing, but he's out of his damn mind. He's royalty in Australia. We were all out at a dinner at this fancy restaurant, and we were all drinking and having fun. And he proceeded to light up a joint in the restaurant. This is Australia in the 90s. This is not like today when everything's legal, and it's still not legal in Australia. But he lights up a joint in the restaurant, and he gets up on the table and starts dancing down the middle of this long table where we're all eating, and people in the restaurant are losing their minds. They love it. The man can do no wrong. He's one of the funniest humans, one of the most fun. Just, oh God, what a great experience. Thanks for the flashbacks, man.
That's awesome. One of my favorite action stars of that time too, Mark Dacascos.
Yeah, man, he's really serious. What an amazing, I'm honestly was probably one of those people that might have sold him a little bit short before I actually worked with him. But the man's work ethic is something that I'll never be able to live up to. I mean, I would go down, I'd be out partying until 4:00 in the morning and come into the hotel, and he'd already be in the gym working out. Dude, it was amazing. I walked out until we were shooting in this old theater in Louisiana, and I walked out onto this stage, and he was in a handstand, full handstand, just in a handstand for like 30 minutes. Didn't move, like zen, like a brick, just in a handstand, not moving, just solid as a rock. I was like, this dude is like a superhero or something. He's a trip. He's awesome. Got a work ethic that I'll never be able to identify with as long as I live.
Love Mark. All right, Catherine Winnick.
Oh my God. To this day, the most beautiful person I've ever worked with in my entire life. Now I think she's the queen on Vikings or something like that. Yeah, she's the most beautiful human I've ever worked with.
Kiss Me Again is very underrated. Yes.
As I did this. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen Kiss Me Again, go see it. It's a very sexy, good movie.
Yeah, it is.
I had a really good time on that movie.
They paid you for that.
They didn't. I should have paid them for that.
That's what I'm saying. That movie. I got paid for that. I revisited it recently, and I was like, "Wow, they actually paid Jeremy for this movie." I got
paid for that.
For that, it's like
got to live in New York City. I got to just be with these wonderful actresses and absolutely wonderful person. She's one of those people that I was sort of baffled that it took as long as it did for her to hit it big, because she was not only stunning, but she was that good of an actress.
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful actress.
Absolutely. Katherine Heigl. Is that a silence? Okay.
Next.
Right. The final name on the list, Neve Campbell.
Oh, my heart. I love Neve Campbell. I will always love Neve. Another underrated, I think, she was wonderful. I mean, we kind of, it sounds weird, we kind of grew up together, I guess, in a way on that show.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got really, once a year we would go to, on Party of Five, we would go to San Francisco, because the show took place in San Francisco, and every season we would go for 2 weeks and we'd shoot all of the scenes that take place in San Francisco that you can see, like the exterior stuff that you couldn't shoot on a set. And some of my fondest memories in this industry was the time that I got to spend with Neve in San Francisco when we would be there. Truly never forget it.
Fantastic actress. All right, we got a bonus name from Ken McKiernan and Andy Dick. Did you work with Andy Dick? I don't remember.
I haven't worked with Andy Dick, but
okay.
I have a pretty awful story about Andy Dick that I'm not going to share, but he's
okay. All right.
Not my cup of tea.
That would have been a silent there too, then, Ken. Sean Smith says, I have a huge crush on Neve, as I'm sure millions do. So yeah, there was a long line of crushes for Neve, definitely. Going way back to Party and on through Scream. So Mr. Ridgely, do we have any questions from our audience?
Well, we do. CJ was commenting earlier, you can only learn from your own mistakes. It's good to know that we're not alone as we make our own mistakes. Preach on. But we do have a couple of people in the green room that would like to come on and ask a question if they may.
Please do. No, that'd be great. Yeah, please do.
Absolutely.
Let me introduce Mr. Terry Jarrell. He's a writer, director. He's got a new movie coming out in October. And one of the actresses from that movie as well. So Crystal. So here is Terry and Crystal.
Welcome. How are you guys?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Jeremy. Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, nice to meet you too, Terry.
Yeah, thank you. Crystal, good to see you. First of all, thanks for
Nice to see
taking
you.
our question. And I this show has almost been like a master class. I had questions for you. You've already answered all of them, but no, fantastic information. And
Thank you.
and Joe mentioned we're in post-production now on a small film we shot here in Florida called Harlow's Haunt.
Oh, nice.
And all new talent, local talent, amazing team we've got. And
I'm about to shoot a movie in Florida in the fall.
really,
Nice.
well, stop by and say hey. Yeah. But one thing that I've talked to a lot of the cast about, and particularly Crystal and I were talking earlier today about influences. And I've always kind of thought throughout the creative process, I mean, going all the way back to Shakespeare, it's almost been like this torch that's been passed. These sparks come off, whether you're a writer, you're an actor, a filmmaker, on whatever level. We're all here today because somebody influenced us or lit that little spark flew off that bonfire and hit us. And it was like, man, I want to be an actor. I want to be like that guy, or I want to do that, those special effects, or I want to do something like that. And
Absolutely.
And from what you've been saying, it's all, I'm just hearing all these sparks that have come.
The magic moved us at some point or another. And I think that we said, I want to move somebody like that. What a gift it would be to be able to be that spark in somebody's life, to be able to be that magic that makes them want to do that for others, or makes them remember good things, to be somebody that motivates somebody as an artist and moves somebody as an artist. And that's why I tell my students, to be as artistic in as many ways as you can. Not just actors. Sing if you can sing. Play guitars. Play the instruments. Be an artist. I do everything. I'm an art. I sell my art. I'm a musician. I try to do everything that I can as an artist, because I think that artist itself is an opportunity to bring happiness to others. That it's not just a self-fulfilling thing. That being an artist is a chance to connect with other people on a different type of visceral level that other careers don't really get an opportunity to do. We're so blessed to be able to do that. And so
Absolutely.
I just have always wanted to be able to do it in as many ways as I can, and as often as I can. And that's why I love directing, and I love teaching, and just everything that I do, I try to put just as much passion into it as I do whenever I'm hitting my guitar and I'm singing, with all of my heart. And I think that at one point we were sitting in a seat in a movie, and we were so moved that it changed us. And to be able to have that opportunity to get to do that for somebody else is such a gift. And, we're so blessed.
It really is. And it's something you want to give away, because it's like,
it is
almost like you're a vessel. You're just kind of passing that through, because I know whenever I write or and filming this movie or whatever projects I've worked on, it's at the end of the day that viewer, that audience, you want them to feel something. You want them to feel good. You want them to have fun. It might not be the best movie or best show or whatever, but you want them to say, even if they say, that sucked, they'll have fun saying that sucked.
But that's still moving people in a way. If it starts a conversation, you know what I mean? Maybe it's not the most sought after end result, but if it gets people talking, then you've created art. I mean, not all art is going to be the most pleasing thing to everybody. How boring would that be if it was?
Yeah.
That's like being a perfect human. Good God, I couldn't anything
that
worse. Oh no, it doesn't exist. But God, I wouldn't want to be that. How boring.
All right, so Crystal, what do you have?
Yeah, so I mean, just to add to that, that really that hit me in like a way, because I just started my acting career about a year ago, and it was after going through cancer treatment, and a lot of things that I went through in life, and I looked like everything that I wanted to do. And I was talking earlier to Terry when he said that he was going to be talking to you tonight, and I was like, that's amazing, because you and a lot of the people from the movies back in the 90s really inspired me to do what I'm doing now, and to see that you've been doing it and you keep doing it is just incredibly, incredibly inspiring. And the reason that you do it is the reason that when I met Terry in February, why I told him I wanted to be an actress. When I was going through those treatments, I would put the TV on and I would watch a show. And it's funny because I watched all of Vikings, and you were just talking about Catherine Winnick, and I love her to death. But I would watch that show, and it would take me out of like what I was going through and put me into this world that they created, and these characters that they took so much time and invested so much in and built, and I could feel it, and that to me, like, I would love to be able to make other people feel that way. So when you said that, it just like hit, and I'm trying not to cry on the live stream.
I started out crying on this live stream. These guys hit me in the feels with that montage of pictures and great memories.
It's an amazing montage.
Just reminding me how lucky I am. Like I said, I live in Mississippi now. I'm so far removed from Hollywood that I don't really think about that stuff anymore, and it's a bummer. I probably should more often, but I just have never been that type of person I don't have posters of myself hanging all over my house. I don't have my awards around where everybody can see them. Like, hey, look who I am. Like, that's never been me, because I identify as I'm a daddy, and now I'm a grandfather. That's who I am.
That's awesome.
I make pepper jelly. I started a company whenever COVID hit. My fiance and I started a company where we started a garden in our backyard, and the garden led to a gardening business, and the gardening business led to me making the best pepper jelly you can ever have.
This came.
Nice.
Comment.
Nice.
And I
love
came
it,
up an
Timothy.
hour
Thank
ago.
you, buddy. You can find it's London's Most Wanted, and you can find us on Etsy. It's the best pepper jelly you'll ever have.
We're gonna have to try
that. London's Most Wanted on Etsy, and it's fantastic. You know, I just have never been the type of person to be like, don't you know who I think I am? You know, I had a license to sell insurance in Oklahoma, for God's sake. I don't pretend to be anything other than me. And I've always been the type of person to be like, well, if the movies aren't happening, then I've got to be doing something else. So I started my acting school. Turned out to be one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I lost most of my money in 2 houses in the 2008 stock market crash. I lost $600,000 in one day in 2 houses. People were throwing themselves off of bridges, and I literally was like, I grew up poor. I can be broke again, man. Whatever. Just go with that. Go run
make
with that,
more money.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, go do something else if you have to do something else. Like I came back to the South. Like I said, I lived to find myself again. I think I kind of lost myself out in Los Angeles for a little while. It kind of steals your soul a bit if you know. I had too much success too early, really, and so for me, it's just about always listening to the universe and not pigeonholing myself in this place where my ego keeps me from enjoying life on life's terms, instead of me trying to delegate what's supposed to happen. Like, I'm too good for that. I'm not going to go teach, or I'm not going to, make pepper jelly and all this stuff because I'm too good for all that.
You're too good for it. Yeah.
Can you imagine all the experiences I would have lost out on, especially with teaching? I mean, my class and we made a little movie called Monsters Anonymous a couple of years back, down on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. We just won first place at the Cannes Film Festival with that little movie. If I didn't leave Los Angeles and I didn't start teaching and doing these other things that have nothing to do with who I used to be, I would have lost out on that experience, And so the whole, boo-hooing, misfortune or whatever, has just never been a part of who I am. I just,
It's good to be humble.
Yeah.
It's good to be humble.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right,
it took a lot of being broken down to do that, to become humble. Like I said, I probably had too much success too early and kind of lost my way for a bit.
But glad
do you have it?
Go ahead, Kristen, please.
Okay. Do you have I had like a 2-part question, but I know we're running out of time. I kind of rambled before.
I'm having a great time. So.
Yeah. We'll just stay on for a while longer, Joe. No, Brandon. No, I was just going to ask, there's a lot of newer upcoming actors in Florida here. Would you have any advice for people that are looking to break into the industry and kind of branch out to somewhere outside of Florida? And then the second part would be, you've had your career going and you're consistently working year after year after year. What is the key to that longevity of keeping it going? Is, any advice on that?
First of all, the first question, don't move to Los Angeles. The industry's not there anymore. The industry's in the South. It's in Atlanta. It's in New Orleans. Not to mention, you will disappear in a sea of incredibly beautiful people that probably aren't even that talented. It's so convoluted there. And it's so hard to survive. And it's so hard to make it that all it will do is break you down. And it'll tell you can't. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. F them. You are good enough, and there's a market for you, and there's a market for everybody if they are open to the fact that Los Angeles is a pipe dream. It used to be the place where you go to make it, but it's not anymore. It's not where the industry is anymore. The industry's in the South. I stay more busy now than I did whenever I was in LA, and so. Wow. Granted, that is, I do have, a lot of it's resume and me doing it for 32 years, but there's still so many projects that go on down this way. Florida and Georgia and North Carolina, now New Mexico and Texas and Louisiana. The industry is moving. And so don't ever feel like you have Hollywood North, even Canada. There's no reason to have to feel like if you don't make it to LA, then you're not making it. Don't ever convince yourself of that. And then what was your second? The longevity. I think just be easy to work with. Always be easy to work with. I learned when I started directing that actors can be a huge pain in the ass. I can't tell you how many times when I was directing, on a daily basis, I would literally say, "Oh, I hate actors." I hate actors.
Do you think that was karma when he passed him?
Probably, absolutely. But I've never really been that difficult to work with because I just have always kind of respected the people that I work with. But I certainly made sure after all of that I was definitely easy to work with from now on. And I won't, I don't ever want to be the reason a production gets held up, because I'm out partying or hungover or anything like that. I'm sober and I'm at work on time. I get there early. I make sure that I'm there for everybody. But it doesn't matter like how successful you get. It doesn't matter how much money you make. Yeah, don't be a heigl. Just seriously. These guys are saying they kind of nailed it. I don't think I have to embellish, but there's no reason to ever believe that that you deserve anything more than what the universe is giving you at the time, because that'll be the end of all of it. That's whenever it's a small business. It doesn't matter. Word gets around, your reputation will precede you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Great advice.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry, Crystal. Best of luck. Keep going.
Yeah, thank you.
Great advice to Terry. Can't wait to see.
What's your movie? What's the name of your movie, Terry?
It's called Harlow's Haunt. It's a horror thriller, crazy psychological. Crystal plays a really cool character, and set back in 1926. Amy, who's been commenting, she's also in the movie. So we've got a lot of cool stuff in there.
Wonderful. Well, best of luck to you guys.
Thank you very
so
much.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to work together soon. Maybe.
I hope so.
It'll be fantastic.
Absolutely. Keep me in mind.
Joining us, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right. Well,
that was fun.
There's more.
Good.
Oh, please. All right.
If that's okay.
I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. This is great.
We have J.W. Colwell, who has a new show on the network, Generation Movie, and he has a question.
Hey, Jerry, how you doing, man?
I'm great, buddy. How you doing?
Congratulations. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us on the network. You found out one of the secrets of the network is that Brandon's a pretty amazing host.
This has been a blast, man.
Yeah, no, really. He's got his game going. So I have two questions for you, and mine are I'm the critic that's kind of on the network. So my question to you is twofold. One, you've been in you've had 3 hit shows, and you've had a bunch of movie sets that you've been on. Do you prefer the intimacy of a movie set that's quick, finite, or do you prefer a show set where you get to know people over time? What's a better vibe for you? What do you like better?
Just being completely honest, I like the money that TV used to have and give you with being in the television series. You make a hell of a lot more money, but I like the filmmaking process more because on TV you have to say every line exactly the way that they write it. You're playing the same character every week over and over and over and over and over and over, and that gets a little bit boring. I like the camaraderie and the family that you build there, but I also do that with the films that I make now. The difference about filmmaking now versus when I started was that movies used to take months and months to film, and so
now
every
it's quicker,
experience
much quicker.
Yeah, we shot it all on film, and that takes a lot longer, and so you're on these sets for months and months. I got to live in Australia for 4 months. And when I did Gods and Generals, I was in Virginia and Maryland and all that for almost 4 months. And, you really, really become a family and get to do all of these sort of just things that you could just only imagine, in your wildest dreams, and then all of a sudden you're off to another adventure, and then you're off to a different adventure. I think that's the fun part about doing movies. But I will always have a fondness for television, and I will always have a fondness for doing television series. But like I said, in all honesty,
3 great experiences. You had 3 great shows that transcended different time periods.
I did.
You know what I mean? So,
and so I hit the lottery 3 times there, And honestly, my brother used to always say, even after I'll Fly Away, he's like, "You've already hit the lottery once. You're not going to do it again." And then I got Party of 5, and then he was like, "Well, you've hit the lottery twice. You're not going to do it again." And
7 times, yeah.
Then the movies and all that stuff, and so I like proving people wrong.
That's a great way to be. The other question I had, and like that first question is kind of from my co-host Rich. We do a show on the network that basically we do deep dives on classic movies.
Right on.
So basically we do like production, how it hit and all that stuff. My question for you, looking at your entire career and what you got coming up, is there anything like I noticed you have 8 movies in post-production right now? You've been working your ass off. Yeah, you do.
I lose track. I don't even keep track of all that stuff.
You're like, I'm in, I'm out, done. But I'm just curious, is there anything that's on the horizon for you that you feel like that could be something special? Like yes. I know you have a lot that you're working on, but is there one that you
I just finished a movie called Open. That was possibly the performance of my career up to now. I did another movie with the only movie I've ever done with my twin brother is a movie called Branded, and it's probably my best performance to date. It's a really cool movie, but it's definitely in the little thing in the beginning when you're showing the pictures of us, and then you showed my brother and I on the horses. That's the movie. It's called Branded. So up to now, I think that's my best performance I've ever given. But this movie that I just did it's called Open, and this amazing filmmaker here in Mississippi. He's actually a professor of film at Loyola in New Orleans, but he's kind of Mississippi royalty. His name is Miles Doliak, and he and his wife just wrote a movie basically for me. Called Open, and it has just it's really I've never done a movie like it before. I've never seen a movie like it before, and to be in this industry as long as I have, to be able to say that is pretty amazing. I mean, it's got a musical element to it. It's fun. It's a dark comedy, and so I get to play a really, really very unlikable but lovable person, if that even makes sense. But it's this kind of washed
makes perfect sense. I totally get that.
Yeah. He's this washed up actor who he's like obsessed with this married woman, and they think they decide to have an open relationship, which is where the name comes from, and then it just all, as it normally does, it just comes back to bite him in the ass, and I become a complete sociopath, and she has this really overactive imagination, and so all of this drama as it plays out in real life manifests itself in her imagination in a musical form. And so we have all of these great musical numbers that are all like these great fun, like almost like hair metal music videos from the 80s, like early MTV stuff.
Nice. So like Jeremy
hilarious.
Jeremy London's Infinite Playlist is what it sounds like.
Kind of like, yeah. I mean, they.
But musicals.
I look like Steve. They got me looking like Stevie Ray Vaughan every night, And
nice.
It's a trip, man. That's cool.
Awesome.
So,
we'll keep an eye out for that. Definitely.
That sounds fantastic. It was a pleasure meeting you, Jeremy. Stay out of trouble. Thank you for coming on. You were great tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thank you, JW. Have a good evening.
Thanks, JW. Awesome.
We have one more.
All
Fantastic.
Right.
Brilliant.
All right.
And I believe you owe him acting
class. Do you have your monologue memorized, CJ?
I have it. I do. I picked one. I do. First of all, Jeremy, how you doing?
Memorized and hit me up.
How's your leg? How's your leg doing?
My leg?
Your thigh?
My leg is I'm always injured one way or another. I'm old. I'm 50 years old this year. I'm just old. I'm always injured.
Wait a minute. How personal are we getting here?
No, he had told me he had a surgery, so I was like, oh, I felt all bad for him. So
no, that was I had a hernia.
Oh,
I had a hernia. I'm hearing a kid. Is there a kid?
Yeah, my son. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Say hi, Max. He's got to
What's
say
up,
hi,
buddy. Hey, what's up?
This is the future of podcasting right here.
That's fantastic.
This is Maxwell Cooper. Hello. So,
what's up, Max?
I've
got my 8-year-old here. Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Jeremy London. He's the actor I met online that one time. Tell him that you like.
That's awesome.
We'll ask him
I'm such a kid person. I love my kids and my grandbaby so much. It makes
There's
me
so many kid pictures online of you and your kids. And I was like,
they're my world.
There it is. One of my favorite
Dude,
pictures.
you're gonna get me crying. Awesome. I'm telling you. I'm just I'm a softie. My babies are my world. The greatest gift in my life are my children, and always will be. And
awesome.
They saved my life, and I love them. I love them. And now my fiance, her oldest son, just had a kid, and so I have basically like a step grandbaby now that we're basically raising him. And so I'm Papa J.
Papa J.
Like, what in the hell? Like, what? All this gray, and I'm like, what? But I love it. I love it. I still feel like the same young person that I did. I haven't changed in that, except that getting up in the morning hurts a little more, and I have things like hernias and all of this stuff.
Jeremy, it's amazing you say that. I've been blessed to become over the last decade really good friends with William Forsythe, who I know you work with.
I just worked with, yes.
And I was with him in Florida recently. I'm working on a film, and he just turned 67. But he every day we were together probably a couple weeks. We're in the supermarket, and there's a young lady like walking by that smiles at him and is flirting. And he's like, and I'm just looking at him laughing. And he's like, dude, even though I'm 66, about to turn 67, I feel like I'm a 17-year-old still.
Absolutely.
Like I still feel like that young guy who was auditioning for trying to get a break long before Dick Tracy and American Me. And that it was amazing to hear him say that, like, because he does live he does live like. He doesn't. The difference is like an old dude. Like.
Right? No. The difference is that the old me would have probably wanted to act on it whenever I have the girls flirting with me or whatever. And now I'm so in love with my fiance that I would never throw away the amazing life I have for something like that. And I think that impetuousness that happens whenever you're young, that tells you that you've earned this, and you should. Listen, I've been there, bought the t-shirt, man. I'm glad I did what I did back when I did it, but I don't need to anymore. And that feels really good, actually. Yeah. It feels good to get to that point to where I just don't, I can work with the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. And at the end of the day, the only person I care to go home to is my lady, and my grandbaby and my kids and stuff like that, that's awesome. An amazing thing
coming full circle,
for me to watch. Yeah. To understand, to know that that's real and authentic, and that it makes me proud of myself. Absolutely. It's a growth within myself that, I couldn't, if you'd have told me that I would have ever been this way when I was in my 20s, I'd have told you you're out of your damn mind, but I just truly enjoy having like just a family and the sanctity of that. And it's cool.
Hard to find and hard to come across, especially in this crazy business. So
it is. Listen, man, I'm glad that I had the fun that I had, but that's all I don't need to keep revisiting that.
Do you have a question, Mr. Robles?
I do. Okay, and Jeremy, so speaking about the monologue, for the actors out there listening, filmmakers, I do want you to kind of tell them how important it is to practice acting on your own, at like a monologue, how it is to just learn before even taking the class, just to kind of kind of already get yourself in the process, get yourself ready. Because when you were emailing me, I was like, oh man, he's right. I have to put this time, set a time for this. I have to practice. Like I was already in my head getting everything scheduled because it does.
The first thing that I ask my classes before we do anything else, and Brandon, I'm posing this question to you right now. There's one thing that gets in the way of your best performance more than anything else. And what is that, Brandon?
You. I mean, for me, I don't know if that's exactly what you were asking.
You mean like being in your own head?
But being in my own head. For me,
that's a symptom. It's a symptom of it. CJ,
okay.
What do you think it is?
The one thing that gets in our own way.
There's one thing that gets in the way of your best performance.
Just not being present, not being in the moment.
That's a symptom. Joe, what do you think?
I'm not an actor.
Well, what would you, if you could guess anything? What do you think it would be?
I would have to guess confidence or underconfidence. That's not.
That's a symptom as well.
Okay.
It's really easy. It's preparation. It's knowing your lines, doing your homework, being prepared. That's all it is. If you do your homework and you memorize your lines, all of the rest will come naturally. You will be confident. You won't be in your head because you won't be going, what's my next line? What's my next line? What's my next line? Oh my God, I hope I don't screw this up. You will already have the confidence because you will know your stuff. You will be prepared. You can always work on it with your director or your acting coach or whatever, but that's when you get to play. That's when it becomes fun. Once you know your lines, once you are prepared, then it's playtime. Now you can go in and you can start painting the different colors and you can find the different textures and the layers. Until then, all you're doing is going, what's my next line? What's my next line? What's my next line?
That makes
sense. As long as you're saying, what's my next line? What's my next line? You are not focused. You're not giving a good performance, and the audience will always know because they can see it in your eyes. I don't teach for theater. Theater, you're performing for people at the back of the theater as much as you are for people at the front of the theater. Everything's big, bellicose, and it's different. I teach for movies and for TV because there's a camera that's right there looking at you in your eyes, and it can tell whether you're being honest or not, or whether you really believe it or not, whether you're struggling or whether you are actually prepared. And if you aren't prepared and you are going, what's my next line? What's my line? The audience will know, they will disconnect, and you will not give a good performance. And it won't come across to the audience as a good performance either. They won't believe you.
That's it right there. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's
preparation.
Be prepared. Yeah, it's amazing. Going back a little bit to Forsyth, I've never seen anybody prepare, and he's a legend. So it's like, but we ran lines. We went over every article of clothing he was going to wear for the shoot. Down
talking about
ties
Bill?
To Bill,
yeah, because he knows he's a professional.
Yeah,
the man's a professional.
Exactly.
He comes prepared. He knows his lines. He studies for weeks before. He knows exactly every nuance because he has already gone through the hassle of learning his lines and then got to go on to the next phase, which is to now let's start playing with the colors. Now let's start playing with like, what's my voice going to be like in this? Exactly. What's my wardrobe going to be like? What's all of
props,
like creates the character. Because until you have the foundation of knowing what your lines are and your preparedness, you can't go to that next step. And God forbid you show up to the set not prepared because you haven't gotten to that. You haven't gotten that first. You haven't earned the right to get to that next place, and you're going to be lost. You're going to hold up production. You're going to hold up production. You're not going to give your fellow actors the performance that they deserve to be able to bounce off of you, because acting is reacting. And if you're not giving your fellow actor 100%, you're not going to get 100% back from them. And you always want 100% back from them. We always expect to get 100% back from them, but it amazes me how many people expect to get 100% back from them, but don't give 100% to them. I just worked with Mickey Rourke, and I got to say, the guy said all of his lines, one line after another, and then he left. He wasn't there, and I don't have a problem saying that. He's an unprofessional dipshit as far as I'm concerned. I can never fathom doing that. Yeah. Being literally, the director would feed him his line, he'd say his line, the director would just feed him he didn't even have his lines memorized. The director would tell him, okay, your next line is this, and then he'd give him the line. He would say his line really badly, and then, okay, next line, and then leave. And then we would all have to perform to the director reading his lines to all of us. And so that messes with my performance. Yeah. And you mess with my performance.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
you get no energy back from your co-star. It's not good. Not good.
We do this because you're supposed to love being an actor. You're supposed to love acting, and that interaction with other actors is what it's all about. You don't pay us to act. You pay us to wait around and wait on the director to get ready for. We act free. The acting's free. That's the fun part.
It's the hurry up and wait.
Yeah, that's what you pay us for. The between action and cut that's the fun, you know. Absolutely. And if you rob yourself of that experience, you take yourself out of that experience. Why are you in this industry? What's the point?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Beautifully stated. Beautifully. It's a masterclass, like Terry said earlier. This is a lot of great wisdom that's being dropped tonight. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
That I could do it, and I appreciate you guys. This has been a blast for me, man. I love the questions, and I look forward to working with you, CJ, whenever you get your monologue memorized, but I'm not interested in working with you until you get your monologue memorized.
I got you.
Get on that, Robles.
Right?
No, you're absolutely right.
Reason. I have people that just flat out don't understand. And then I had this one actress. She came to me completely woefully unprepared. But then, I was trying to explain to her why this is important. When she was like, well, why don't you, send me a monologue? And I said, that's not my job to do your homework for you. This is an individual business. This is a solo sport, right? This is you're in this on your own. And if you don't know how to survive on your own, you don't have what it takes to make it. And you're not going to have what it takes to make it. And she was like, well, all my other teachers, they give me. And I said, well, you're coming to me because you're not a good actress. So all of your other teachers have just taken your money and screwed you over.
Been through how many teachers?
Like 6 of them. And I was like, and she was terrible. And I was like, all that they've done is give you a scene and tell you you're good, and then they take your money. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I don't care about your money. I want you to get better.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. I don't want somebody coming saying. I don't want a bad actor telling people that Jeremy London is their acting coach. You know what I mean? Wow. That's what he did.
I think I'm gonna cancel that appointment.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh wow. Well, I thought you coming.
I told Joe, man, I go, Jeremy could hold a conversation. I paid for a 2-minute spot. He gave me 10 minutes, and I was just like sitting there in the conversation, just taking in all his information. Like, I thank you, brother, because it is true. And you have to take it serious. It's you're waste. You don't want to waste people's time, and that to me that gives me anxiety, knowing that I'm like, oh, I need to be everywhere to make sure everything goes well, because I don't want to waste people's time, because I've been there where the cameraman shows up an hour late, and I have to keep production cool, or I get there and the director doesn't show up, and then I'm the one I'm like trying to keep everybody composed. It's a lot. But now that I'm more in control, I'm like, all right, let's go forward. But you have to take it serious.
You have to take it seriously.
True.
And you have to understand that, the foundation that you set for yourself is what's going to represent you for the entirety of your effort to try to make it in this industry. And this is not an easy industry to get into. That's one of the things that makes me so angry, is people think it's so easy to do this. It's not. It's not easy to get into this industry, and it's damn sure not easy to stay in this industry. Yeah. There's a lot of one-hit wonders, just like music.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, give me a little water there, dude. You're serious. It's a passion. It's like you're so honest. Like, you don't hold back. You're just like, hey, do this and do it and go. Or there's no point in wasting time.
Every time a movie is finished, we are unemployed.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
True.
Very true. Very true.
So,
Well, thank you, CJ. Thank you for supporting the show tonight. Great questions. And
you can see CJ on Monday nights on My Manic Mondays on the Indie Escape Network.
very cool.
Oh yeah, and then don't forget we're thanks Jeremy. And we're promoting Chainsaw Jerry's 80th. So if you need it, anybody have any questions, thank you. Horror fans for healing. We're doing all the charity, all the foundations going for the tragedies that happened in Uvalde. And we're here to just help out. We're going to have free music, food. We're going to have autographs, photo ops, everything in front of the house. We're going to have in front of the tribute van. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. It's a free event on Saturday. And if you're interested, on Friday night, we're doing a private dinner. And we're going to do a little game called Drinking with Grandpa. It's going to be a good time. So reach out to me.
Just an extra, I love you guys even more for doing that for the Uvalde people. That's truly amazing. Truly amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, CJ, for all you're doing for that, man. We'll definitely be supporting next week. CJ Robles, everybody. Thank you, buddy.
Good night, brother.
Thank you, brother. So I just had one last question before Mr. Ridgely asked you about your socials. Art is a huge part of your life, a passion and a love. I saw so much dope art this week that you created. Tell us a little bit about like what art is, what the feels are for you for art, because you've done a lot of it and obviously it's a huge passion.
Well, for me, music and art it's my escape, it's my getaway. And I never really thought it would be something that I would make money off of, but I started people started offering, to buy my paintings and drawings and stuff like that. And I was like, really? And then I started getting a museum saying they wanted to put my work in their museum, which is really, really weird, but incredibly flattering. And then I started doing commissions for people, mostly their dead animals. People would want me to do a sketch of their poor dog that passed or whatever, and so I've done a lot of that. But I kind of sort of backed away from the commissioned art thing because I simply could not keep up with it. It takes me too long to do it, and I'm such a perfectionist that I don't want to just throw something together and mail it off because somebody paid me to do it. And I got behind to where I was, people had paid me money and I owed them art, and it went on for like a couple of months where I just got behind, and I don't ever want to be that person that somebody feels like they're getting screwed over by, it weighs on my my conscience. So I pulled back from the commission part of it, but I still, for myself, whenever I get the chance, I got to pick up my guitar and play music. I got to pick up my paintbrush and paint. That's just
such
part
an
of
intimacy to it. There's such
it is, and that's it's that remembering the artist that you are, and always expanding on what it means to be an artist, and not being so insular that you're just an actor. That's why I direct and I write scripts, and I produce, and I am a musician and an artist and all of these things, because I think that the word artist should not just mean one thing.
I agree.
And I think that it all lends itself to you just being a better actor in the long run anyway. It makes you a deeper, more contemplative person, makes you somebody
just a more well-rounded soul.
Right. And I think that they all feed each other. The acting feeds the music, and the music feeds the painting, and the painting feeds the acting, and it's this circular kind of thing that is keeps me remembering who I am.
Absolutely.
But also leaving something behind, because I know that we're all gonna, leave this mortal coil at some point, and I want my children and my grandchildren or my great grandchildren that maybe won't get a chance to meet me or know who I am, to be able to get a sense of who I am by hearing a song that I sang or wrote and going, that was my great grandpa, or seeing a painting and seeing, a part of me. It's an interesting thing being an actor and being able to do this for so long, because there, in a way, we become somewhat immortalized, because there will always be this thing with our image and our voice that exists in the ethos that are even my great grandchildren can go back on whatever the internet becomes by then, and see who I am. Like, who gets to do that? Like, I don't know who my great grandparents are. I don't know what they looked like. I don't know what they sounded like. I don't have pieces of art that they made.
But it's like I said, you've created a hell of a legacy that you can leave for not just your children, but like I said, future generations of Londons that she should be proud of. And I think the evolving it is something that I try to do daily, not just be an actor, a filmmaker, a writer. I try to find new things that are even though I haven't reached the goals particularly that I have set yet for some of those things, I still try to evolve it, and that centers me and makes me a better person on a daily basis. So
if you're working on those things, you're working towards it, then the universe will hear you.
Absolutely, I believe that.
Get there in the time that it has set for you, and just don't forget to enjoy the journey. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for the amazing advice tonight, Jeremy. Usually I ask that as the last question, but you've given advice throughout the whole show. I am going to say to Sean Smithson, where can we find your art? You still have the art page up?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram on Jeremy London Actor. It did say Jeremy London's art page, but I just changed it. So it just says Jeremy London Actor. You can see some of my work on there. Okay. But a lot of it is more personal, and so I don't share everything. Okay. But some of my favorite stuff is on there.
Some good stuff on there of animals and all types of different, and some stuff that has some deep social commentary too. Some of the things I read something into different things. So there's one that had the fascist that I had in the tribute
That's
video.
My favorite. Yeah. Woody Guthrie. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I did my favorite piece that I've ever done is the Orson Welles piece. I don't know if you saw that on there.
I did. Yeah. There's so many. Yeah.
That was pretty.
I could have made a 6-minute or more video, but I had to keep it in check. But yeah, Jeremy, Mr. Risley, any questions to close out for Mr. London?
Well, I think it's really cool when he was going on into artists, and it kind of ties into our new logo. Again, I mean, it's the Indie Escape Network where creatives unite, and creatives being the key.
Absolutely. I think that, when I saw that, I understood kind of a little bit more about what we were doing here tonight. And so I think that's a fantastic, not only foundation for your podcast, but it's a fantastic logo.
Well, thank you. And Jeremy, like I had a cheat sheet of amazing questions about your filmmaking career. So I'd love you to come back in the near future just to talk about filmmaking and The Devil's Dozen. I had a lot of questions, but again,
I got to hit on some of these comments first, though.
Absolutely.
A link to the classes.
I don't have a link to the classes because I don't have just a general. What I do is you can get in touch with me on Twitter at Sir Jeremy London. And we can set up a time through there, or you can find me on Facebook. I know my follower count, I think it's at its max, so I need to clean house there a little bit more. But the best way to find me right now is either on Twitter at Sir Jeremy London, or pardon me, you can email me at londonartsactingschool@gmail.com. And I right now do most things just one-on-one over Zoom, or if I have enough interest and we get, several people together, sometimes we have group classes on Zoom, which are a blast. But I really love working with people like one-on-one. To me, is we get a lot more work done that way. I can give people my time more instead of having to break it up. But the group classes are a blast. COVID really kind of stopped I was traveling. I had classes in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and I was driving to all of these classes, and they were all big group classes that we go to. But good God, man, it was wearing on me. And then COVID hit and kind of shut that all down. And then all of a sudden I learned about this Zoom thing, and now I'm like, why would I drive anywhere whenever I can have this great experience from my bedroom? And it's just as effective. And the fact is that we're working with cameras, and that's what I teach anyway. And people need to learn how to be aware of that anyway. But the end result is just as effective, if not more, by this format that we're doing on StreamYard or Zoom or whatever.
Saves a lot of gas too in these crazy gas prices.
Just a couple more comments.
Fathom having to try to make that work. I couldn't even with it today. Oh my God! Could you imagine? I wouldn't make enough money in any class to even make it worth it.
It's true.
Gas is only $6 a gallon. Whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, this was. I really enjoyed this, guys.
Absolutely. I say this week's great show, Jeremy and Brandon. Thank you everybody for watching, for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, and again, thank you, Jeremy London, for gracing us with your wisdom tonight. You dropped so many gems. I didn't even have to ask my final words of wisdom question. So thank you, sir. You're welcome back anytime. You're part of the Indie Escape family now, and thank you so much,
fellas. Anytime. Seriously.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Absolute pleasure. I enjoyed this a lot.
Thank you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Too. God bless.
Thank you, Jeremy. God bless.
Man, what an amazing guy. Very generous with his time.
And the humility is just, I've spoke that. I was spoken in the Olivier Gruner episode and other episodes as well. It's just for people to have such amazing careers and still be doing it at a high level, to be that humble is just, again, and having gone through the ups and downs that he's gone through in his life and career, it's just great to see people out there that are giving of their time, whether it's teaching or even just spending an hour and a half with us tonight and imparting the wisdom that he has. So thank you very much, Jeremy, for your time tonight. Anytime you want to come back to the Escape to promote anything, or like I said, I have probably 10 or 15 questions I didn't get to ask tonight. So it was much appreciated. Everybody that's watching, you guys, we all got a master class, like Tara and Gerald said earlier. So thank you, Jeremy. Unfortunately, next week we will be preempted because Tim and I will be at the Houston Horror Film Festival and Convention in Houston. So there will be no IOU next week, but I'll be back the following week with an amazing guest. And again, please talk a little bit more about some of your things, Joe.
Do we know who that amazing guest is yet? Can we?
Not yet. I'm not going to divulge it yet because I don't want to spill the beans when I don't have it confirmed yet. But it is going to be another banger though that's going to be get a lot of buzz, just like tonight's guest did. So stay tuned.
All right. So Sunday night on David Lee Madison's show, we're going to have Sally Kirkland on. Now, I'm not too familiar with her work, but the one movie I am familiar with is Best of the Best.
Yes.
And that was one of my favorite movies when I was a teen.
Yes.
So, that was like my favorite movie with Eric Roberts, other than The Pope of Greenwich Village. So
yes. I was a big Best of the Best guy too. Philip Ree. Obviously the great James Earl Jones. Tauber. It's like it was just again. It is 80s cheese martial art film, but again, it does have an amazing ending.
Wait a minute. Okay, so Roberts with his shoulder was the same thing as The Pope of Greenwich Village with his thumb.
Yes, absolutely, man. But again, it's popcorn cheese but was amazing though. Like we just Eric Roberts, absolutely, just like that. The Tommy Lee character, the late Chris Penn, who was amazing in it too. Just a great cast, and Sally Kirkland was right in the middle of it. So yeah, we look forward to supporting the end of the night on Sunday with David and Scott and you, Joe. So.
Well, thank you. And again, the new logo, guys, we're really proud of this. We're going to get some merch out there soon. So please look forward to that. Again, Phantasm, August 19th through the 21st. We're going to be out there with Terry Gerald's crew at Harlow's Haunt. We're going to do the panel, and they're going to have a table set up there. They're going to have some killer merch, and they're going to have some of the cast and crew there. So make sure to join us if you can. And not to sound like a broken record, but again, in Texas this weekend, Terry Gerald, along with our CJ Robles, is going to be out at this awesome event. So that's what I got.
Hey, I mean, it's a great thing we're doing to support some people in need in Texas, and I 1,000%.
I've got a better ponytail. Piss off.
The only thing better is best of the best too. That might be a debate there. But
who was the singer that was in Best of the Best too? I'm drawing a blank.
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton.
Yes, he was the villain of the Coliseum.
Fun fact: I worked at a movie theater when that came out, and we'll visit that at a later date. But anyway,
absolutely, yeah. Hopefully, we can have some of those. Those are that. Let's just say some of those people that are in that movie are potential future guests. So that'll be cool to go back into the best of the best ethos down the road on IOU. So, but again, thank you to the amazingly inspiring Jeremy London for an amazing interview tonight. Thank you, Joe, for always backing me up on this. Thank you to everybody who watched tonight. You guys gave some amazing questions. CJ, Terry, Crystal, JW for coming on. You guys rock. Thank you for the support. Please like, subscribe, share, all of those different things that Joe puts up on the screen, those little nuggets of Instagram and Facebook and even TikTok, which I've gotten a little used to, which is kind of scary lately. But again, that's the building block and the building process of the IE network. We're trying to build to, like I said, thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're trying to build this thing grassroots up. We're going to start with some merch with the new logo that's dope. And just we're going to be at these awesome events that Joe said, and just keep this flag burning and make it bright as we can. So everybody have a great weekend. Believe in the power of yourself and the right others. Peace, everybody.